All right. Welcome, everybody. Man, we have a lot to catch up on because the world of real estate is crazy. JT Rants, welcome to JT Rants, where it's real estate, real stories, no fluff. We're just going to go right into what we see is happening in the real estate market, hopefully answer your questions. If you're a buyer, a seller, an agent, a lender, an affiliate, we want to hear from you. Right. And so we put together this wonderful podcast, JT Rants. My name is Johnny Perez, and down below is
Tony Elias. Here we are again for another episode, and we're going to cover some hot stuff today. I hope you guys learn a lot. And if you have any questions yourself, please put them in the comments because we will answer them.
So, Tony, today I understand we're going to take a whole different approach, right? I know we were off for the holiday and whatnot, and obviously we have this type of market that we never know what's going on, even though we have our schedules in place. And I think the consumers had a lot to say from our last episode, right? We got some questions that popped in. So why don't we just start this episode off and just fire some questions at each other, and let's just see where your mind is and where my mind is and how we're going to rant about it. How's that?
I think that's a great idea. I mean, we were getting a lot of questions, and what we did is just rate the top ones, and we'll just answer those. And I think that'll help the audience understand real estate from the eyes of actual realtor doing it day in and day out for the past 26 years. This way you can hear it from us and not the news, not your family, not your friends, because everybody thinks they're a realtor. Everyone knows real estate, but you're hearing it directly from us.
So before you ask the first question, everybody make sure you like us and subscribe us, okay? Because we are growing by the hundreds and we're excited. Cannot wait till we throw our first 1,000 people party and then we go to 10,000. So we need your help. Please like, subscribe, whatever it's called. Okay.
There, do everything you can. Get the word out there, guys.
That's right. Promote us, please. Here we go. All right, to start us off, Tony, what's question number one? What do you have for us?
Well, let's take a look here, Johnny. So looking at the questions here, the first question we got was, which are the most expensive neighborhoods in San Diego? I think you know that best, Johnny.
Oh,
hit us with the most expensive neighborhoods. Go ahead.
I'm going to take a guess. It's probably La Jolla or Rancho Santa Fe.
Yeah, those are the two top ones on the list. La Jolla, Rancho Santa Fe, Del Mar, Coronado, folks. Those are probably the four most expensive neighborhoods in San Diego County.
Wow.
And they got really nice homes over there. So if you're looking to move here and you want luxury, those are the neighborhoods to go to.
And I think what's the starting price there? About 3 million, 3.5, I believe is the starting price.
Yeah, I mean, prices range from 3 million up to 30 million, Johnny, in those neighborhoods. I mean, you can find houses, up to 30 million that are gorgeous off the cliff overlooking the ocean. So it just depends what your budget is, but we got it. That's the city of it. San Diego got it.
Yes. So we do have luxury in San Diego, folks. We're not just all about beach cities. So that's good. I'm glad somebody actually asked that question. That's crazy, right? I mean, what's the most expensive? Because I honestly, in my mind too, I thought maybe Coronado was ranking there as well. But no, Rancho Santa Fe is going to keep it. I mean, a lot of horse property there, Rancho Santa Fe, and a lot of it's larger lot sizes. So if you're looking for a large lot, you're looking for a compound, right? You're looking for a home to raise your family in. On that level of luxury, then yes, Rancho Santa Fe. If you want a second home, I feel Coronado has more second homeowners than I think almost anywhere in San Diego.
Actually, that's a good point you bring up, because if you're looking for luxury, there's two types of luxury. You got the La Jolla and the Coronado, which is more beach kind of front properties. You don't got that much land to your home. I mean, you got nice sized backyards, but you're mostly buying the view. Whereas in the area like Rancho Santa Fe, you're going to get land. You're going to get land with your house. You're going to get compounds. You're going to have, gated communities, security guards at the entrance, neighborhoods that provide dry cleaning and food delivery and things like that to their people that live in there. So that's a kind of a different between the two, but I would say Rancho Santa Fe takes the cake.
Yeah, especially if you're a golfer. Well, golfer, Torrey Pines, but Rancho Santa Fe Country Club. I mean, you got so much beauty out there. So yeah, that's. But But good question. I think that's a good question. That's a good starter there. As far as where is the top luxury? What's our Beverly Hills of San Diego? It's Rancho Santa Fe, La Jolla, then Coronado. That's awesome.
Got it.
So I have Adam from El Cajon asked this question. Do I need to pay my agent as a buyer? I'm a new buyer looking for a home and I have tons of questions. Good question, Adam. I mean, this is like one of the top questions that more buyers should ask. And I feel like sometimes they're scared. They're scared to have an interview or sit down with an agent, or maybe their parents referred them to that agent and they feel like, well, I'm stuck. Like I should probably stay with this person, whether I like them or not. So how do you approach that, Tony, when you meet a buyer for the very first time who happens to be a first-time home buyer? Right? What do you tell them about that?
Because that's a very good point, Johnny, because with this change in the commission laws with real estate, a lot of people are confused. They're like, who pays the commission? Who doesn't? Do I got to come up with the down payment, my closing costs, and the agent's commission? So what I have to say to buyers is I would say on a percentage scale, probably 95% of the time, the buyers don't pay it. If you got a good agent working for you, then that agent will know how to incorporate that their fee into the offer and get the home seller to pay it so that you're not paying it on top of your closing cost and commission, and down payment.
Yeah.
But if you don't have an agent that knows what they're doing or doesn't know how to negotiate it, then the fee's going to fall on you as, the buyer. You're going to have to pay your agent to represent you if the seller doesn't pay them.
Sure. And so, guys, I'm going to back up here from what Tony said is prior to the new law that changed, and man, it's already been 2 years now, which is crazy. But prior to that, folks, your agent, if you're a buyer, your agent's commission was pre-negotiated when the listing agent went and took the listing, right? So when they took that listing, it was already predetermined that the seller said, I'm going to give XYZ compensation to anybody who brings a buyer to my house. Well, now it actually is now incorporated when you put an offer on a home. So when you're working with your agent exclusively, you'll have what's called a buyer broker agreement. Okay. You'll have to sign this with your agent that you decide to work with. Okay. I'm going to tell you, buyer, please read what you are signing. Okay. Please read what you are signing, because I do get clients that call me and they say, hey, I really like this house. I'm not working with an agent, but I want to write an offer. And I come to find out they already had a buyer's agent agreement with another agent. Okay. So as a buyer, you don't want to have two of those floating out there, because you may get caught having to pay an extra commission or paying commission entirely. Okay. Yeah. So as a buyer, you're going to negotiate this. I think it's great. The fees are negotiated at the time when you meet with the agent. But as Tony said, yes, the sellers are still paying the agent's commission. Now, I will tell you guys, I wrote an offer last week and the counter came back. Seller said, buyers to pay their own agent's commission. I was like, what? In this market? And by the way, guys, this was in Riverside County. And I was like, okay, are we back in summer of 2021 when it was the Wild Wild West? Because I am just like, what? I mean, like the counter was ridiculously like back at list price, like didn't want to give any concessions. But what got me was this was my first time in 2 years that I've encountered where a seller said 0 compensation to your agent.
Right. Right. So it's very rare, but it's going to happen if you're not out there, negotiating on behalf of the buyer. So folks, just look at what you're signing and make sure you understand it before you go out there and buy a home.
And guys, to be fair, we countered them back and the seller did pay the commission. So he was just being overly aggressive because sellers, there's 2 P's right now, patience and price, and they didn't want to reduce any more. And they feel like their home was still worth here when it's worth here, or what a buyer is willing to pay here. And so we just renegotiated it. So no, and this particular transaction, I'm going to be very clear, the seller is still paying the agent's compensation, my compensation. So again, like Tony said, it's all in the negotiations, baby, and how you present it.
And I guess this question ties into it. Lisa here in Spring Valley put, how much is an agent's commission and can it be negotiated?
Ooh.
So
I'm an agent that charges 3% to represent a buyer, right? But I'm also that agent that when we're negotiating it, If the difference is 0.25% or 0.5% of my client getting that home, then I'll sit with the clients and we'll work through that. So if I can assist them to get that home, I'm all about winning, right? And I know there's agents out there that say, no, if you sign a 3% negotiation or a 3% buyer broker agreement with me, if they only pay me 2, you're required to pay a point. And I've heard agents doing that. Have you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean to answer that question, typical range of commission, if you're a seller, you could expect to pay about 5 to 6% in commission. You know, you're going to pay your listing agent 2.5 to 3%. And then you can expect most offers that come in from agents are going to ask for 2.5 and 3%. So is commission negotiable? Yes. Can we negotiate it? Yes. But we can make it a win-win for both, where we get paid our commission and you get the ultimate goal. You either get the home or you get the house sold for the price you want. And that's the amount of money you're looking to net. Because ultimately, if you're a home seller, the biggest thing you're worried about is how much am I going to net in my pocket after all the fees are paid.
Yeah.
As long as we can make that goal happen for you, you'll be glad to pay the commission. And as a buyer's looking to buy a home, as long as you got an agent that's going to represent you and know how to ask the seller to pay their portion of the commission, then you won't have to be paying commission out of pocket. Yeah. So I hope that clarifies that on commission. What do you think?
So what do you say to the buyer that says, well, in order to get the offer accepted, the agent is still requiring me to pay what's on our broker agreement. The seller's only willing to give 2. We signed an agreement at 3. What do I do in that instance if I'm a buyer?
Well, I mean, I think that reflects back on what you said, Johnny. It depends on your agent. You know, like you said, you won't let your buyer lose a home over a fee. So if it comes down to it that my buyer really wants this home and all that's holding it back is my fee, then I'm obviously going to negotiate it because my ultimate goal is to win the home for my buyer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's going to come down to the personality and the agent you're working with. A good agent will know how to make the deal happen. You and I have seen that many times in the business. So
and that's very frustrating too when I hear those stories. A buyer saying, hey, I lost that house because the agent didn't want to reduce their commission for me to get the home. And what I'll tell you is you're working with the wrong agent. What I'm telling you is you didn't do your due diligence up front with interviewing this agent to say, hey, listen, I know you got to eat. I got to eat. We all got to eat. But what does that look like when you're representing me? Because, you know, I don't want a client to lose a house over a couple $1,000s. And, you know, at the same time, I get it. Agents are like, well, I have to make a certain amount of compensation for our services, right? But you're right. It goes back to the negotiation of those agents. So for the agents that aren't working with you as the buyer, you may want to seek a new agent. You have 2 agents right here that will be happy to negotiate for you on your behalf. But
here's a question. I mean, I'm going to throw out a question.
Okay.
I mean, this is a question that I always tell home sellers and buyers to ask themselves when they're talking to me. How long has the agent been in the business and how many transactions have they recently closed? See, I'm willing to throw that question out there in the mind of a seller or a buyer because I'd gladly love to answer it. You know, I've been in the business 26 years and done thousands of transactions in my career.
Yes.
That's what it's going to boil down to. You know, Johnny, if you guys are looking for an agent, whether it's a selling agent or a buyer's agent, make sure you ask them the hard, tough questions. How long have you been in the business? How many transactions have you done? If they can't show you proof that that's what they've done and how long they've been in the business, then they're just feeding you fluff to get your business, and you're going to feel the effects later on when it comes time to negotiating.
Yeah, no, you're spot on with that. I think, though, Tony, what a lot of buyers don't know, I always say they don't know what they don't know. So if you're a buyer and you're watching this, here are some questions like Tony just pointed out when you're interviewing agents for the job to represent you. Number 1, the agent should be full-time. And I demand that they should be full-time because, guys, you are about to make one of the biggest, if not the biggest purchase of your life. You deserve a full-time broker that's representing you and only you in that transaction.
Yeah, not a part-time realtor, not a realtor that's working, full-time somewhere else and will show you homes on the weekend. I mean, it's crucial, guys. You're dealing with the biggest asset of your life. Go with the professional who does it full-time and who does it day in and day out, because it's going to make your life easy. That's why we get this bad rap. How many agents fail in the first year, Johnny?
Well, I'll give you a better number. Here's real number, because I'm all about numbers. Numbers don't lie. 1.5 million real estate agents nationwide.
Okay.
1.5
million nationwide? Okay.
70% of them for the year of 2025 sold 0 houses.
Wow. 70% of the agents out there have sold 0 houses in 2025.
Well, they have to be, in my eyes, part-time lovers. They have to maybe just be, stay-at-home spouses. I don't know. Hobbies, flippers, investors. Okay. I don't know, but in my mind, I'm thinking, how does somebody live on not selling a home? Now, I will tell you guys, to be fair, average numbers for average transactions for an agent, because I'm sure you as a buyer, you have no clue, right? You don't know how many houses, what's where they should be or where they're at. Average right now in this market is 4 to 6 transactions a year is the average amount of transactions an agent does. Okay.
Wow.
That's average. Now, we're talking about top producing agents that do this full time, that understands, that grow their business, that have been in business like Tony and I have. They'll do anywhere between 12 to 20 plus transactions a year. Okay. So I think that's important too to understand, because a lot of buyers don't even know, like, well, what's considered a top producer?
Right.
Is it one a month? Is it one a month? One every other month?
Good point.
Right. So guys, so when you are interviewing those agents, let's ask those questions, right? How long have you been in business? How many transactions have you closed in the last 24 months? That's a good question to ask.
Yeah.
Number 3, do you service, for instance, if I'm military, I want to know that agent is certified to understand military VA loan transactions. If I'm a first-time buyer using FHA or a down payment assistance program like CalHAFA or the California Dream program, this is a good one. I'm going to rant on this one, Tony. There are so many agents that all of a sudden were producing videos and advertisements and all of these all these home buyer webinars. I don't know how many agents I saw throughout San Diego. Everybody wants to jump on. I'm the webinar king, right? They all want to jump on home buyer classes, and all of them were pitching California Dream.
Yeah, they're all pros.
When I started looking up these agents, 98% of them did 0 down payment assistance programs in their whole career. None of them had even done CalHAFA programs.
Wow.
None of them done CalPERS. None of them have done FHA transactions.
That is amazing to me to understand. And this is why it's so important, guys. Ask the tough questions. Is your agent specialized in handling a VA loan? Is your agent specialized in doing an FHA? But there's also agents like ourselves who've been doing this for so long that we're well versed in every category because we've done it multiple times and we've learned through real life experience. So, if you don't have an agent that understands these programs, then you're going to get yourself in a tight pickle when you're in escrow and you realize, oh, I didn't know my loan required that, or I didn't know I was supposed to do this or do that, or this house doesn't go VA or FHA. So that's a very good point. You brought that up. And
you'd be surprised how many of the horror stories I hear, because my niche is heavy in the military. Right. And I just got a call from one of our clients that was on one of our webinars out of Rochester, New York. And it was a referral from a past client. And he says, hey, Johnny, I'm trying to use my VA, but they want me to go conventional. And they said the only way I get my offer accepted or that the best rate is I should stay conventional. Conventional loan, guys, just so everybody knows, in case you're a first-time home buyer, there's 3 types of mortgages. Conventional, which is a non-government loan, and you have 2 government loans, FHA and VA. Okay. FHA and VA, because they're government loans, the pricing on them is usually 0.5% less. What I mean by that, if today's conventional rate is 6, That means VA and FHA are probably at 5.5. So if conventional is at 6, VA is probably about a half a point less, so 5.5. Okay. I said, why are you not using your VA? And they said, well, they said that I can qualify for a down payment of grant, free money of $12,000. And I can use that to buy down the interest rate. So I said, send me the chart. And he says, okay, I'm going to send you the chart. And he sends me the chart, Tony. And I wonder if I have the chart still, because as I'm going through this chart, and this is good stuff to, I think, probably share with the community here, because a couple things stood out on that. Number one, the payment. And everybody right now is payment sensitive, right? We are all payment sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
And check this out. I'm going to bring this up. I think I can bring this up. I think I got skills. You might be excited with me now. We're moving up. I mean, look at this. Boom. Here is what was given to the military veteran. Okay. Now, the purchase price was about $300,000. Now, this first column here, I don't know if my screen shows this, but the very first column is conventional 20% down.
Okay.
Okay. The lender wanted him to come in with 20% down, which is $55,000 out of pocket, so that he would get a payment of $1,984 a month. Compared to his VA loan, VA is 0 down, although she still was putting 20% down on VA, which VA you don't need to, and his payment was $2,107. And I said, it's a $200 a month savings, but you have to put $55,000 out of your pocket. How many months will it take you to recuperate that $55,000? And the buyer was like, I didn't think about that. And I said, oh, and by the way, I looked up the grant program because we all have Chat GPT now. So I put it in there. Come to find out, the grant program has a 5-year clause that if he sells or refis in the first 5 years, he has to pay it back.
Wow.
Right? And as a veteran, he has a VA. He can do what's called an IRRRL to refi. And even if he wasn't a veteran, let's face it, guys, rates will come down. And when they do, everybody's going to refinance to get the lower rate, to get the lower payment. This guy would have been stuck in that loan for 5 years, because if he got out of it, it would cost him an extra $12,000.
This is exactly what I mean. I mean, if they didn't come to you and you didn't catch that, what would have happened? You know, later on, they would have realized, man, I picked the wrong. I did not know about this. Nobody guided me on this. Nobody guided me.
And you know what's funny, Tony, is I asked him, I said, well, how did you find the agent? Because this is why I have an agent, and the agent referred me to this lender. And I said, well, that's customary, because we want to work with people that we've done business with in the past. So I will refer a couple lenders, to my buyers as well. But I said, how did you find it? He said, oh, well, I was referred by a friend or whatever. But the reviews were great. She does a lot of loans. And I said, she can have 1,000 reviews. She could have done 1,000 loans in her career. But how many VA loans has she done in the past 12 months, the past 24 months? And he goes, well, I didn't ask her that. And I said, and as your agent, why isn't she like saying, hey, Mr. Buyer, you're about to be screwed by having to put $55,000 in with VA. You don't have to. Yeah. And I did the math for him, right? And I said, if you put the $55,000 in a savings account and you got a mere 4% interest, I'd rather you have the cash in your bank, right?
Yeah.
And so, guys, you have to ask these questions, and don't be afraid. Just because they have 1,000 reviews doesn't mean they specialize with you, right? Our senior citizen community right now is one of the other second biggest communities that are underserved, that are being taken advantage of. The amount of fraud that is happening right now to the seniors in the real estate profession is huge, and it's climbing more so now than ever because of AI.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, we do a lot of work with the senior community as well. And guys, you want to make sure that your agent is certified. There are certification courses out there, but it's up to the agent. I'm going to be honest with you. If I'm an agent that's only doing 1 to 4 transactions a year or 0, I'm not going to have money to invest in myself.
More importantly, I'm not going to have the experience to give you the right answers.
Or the one I always like to tell buyers, listen, I had one of my clients say, hey, my buddy at work got his license. And he said he'll split his commission with me to represent him. And I said, yeah. And his buddy said, hey, we go look at houses in the evening after work anyways, in the weekend. So it's going to be great. It's going to be a piece of cake. And, I've done 2 of these already. So let me help you. Yeah. And so, of course, it's his buddy. He says, yeah, I'll help you. So he came to me, and he was at one of my classes, and he had a lot of questions. And I said, if you're working with an agent already, why do you have so many questions? Number one. And he says, well, it's because he's part-time. Can I still use him? And I said, you can use any agent you want. But let me ask you something. If you had to have open heart surgery today, would you want a part-time surgeon or a full-time surgeon? Good point. I mean, he just was like, well, I mean, he's looking at me like I'm dumb, right? Like, Johnny, a full-time surgeon. And I said, well, then why do you want a part-time agent to represent you in the biggest purchase of your life? Because last I saw, escrow and banks and title companies are open Monday through Friday from 8 to 5. How is he going to be at the inspection? How is he going to be there for the septic? How is he going to know about well? How is he going to know about soil samples? How is he going to know about termite?
Well,
I mean, I went on and on.
Speaking of inspections, I mean, let's jump to the next question because, you know, we don't want to bore them with the numbers of the mortgage because, folks, bottom line, if you got questions, call a professional, let them help you out with it. But here, Peter in La Mesa said, I'm buying a home and my agent is telling me to do a home inspection. Should I waive the home inspection and not pay the $600 to $700 the cost for a home inspection? Great question, Peter. Great question, because we get asked that all the time. Let me give you a scenario. I mean, you're buying a home that you're going to spend. The average price here in San Diego is about $1 million for a home. You're going to spend $1 million on a home, and it's going to cost you, let's say $600, let's say $800 to do a home inspection. Is it worth it? Yes, absolutely. Why? Because these home inspectors are going to follow a structured list, and they're going to check everything in the home that your memory is not going to remember to check. And what's going to end up happening is you're going to close escrow and move into your home and be like, oh man, this went wrong, or oh man, why didn't I know about this? Home inspector's job is just to bring everything to light so that you can bring a professional in that category to look at it. So the home inspector is not the professional. I mean, they're not going to tell you how to fix it or the cost of it, but they're going to bring it to your attention. So like if your roof has a leak, they're going to request that you bring a roofer, which then your agent should know, hey, let's call a roofer and bring them out. Yeah. Plumbing is dripping. Hey, let's get a plumber out here. And the importance of that, folks, is so you know the cost of what you're going to have to walk into when you buy this home. Last thing you want to do is spend all your money buying this home, move in, and then find out you got a $50,000 roof leak or a $20,000 plumbing job. So yes, do the home inspections. It's worth the investment. And if you end up canceling out of that home, it's better to lose $800 than thousands of dollars by closing escrow to save that $800 just to pay thousands of dollars. What's your thoughts?
100. I mean, I can't rant and rave against that one because I'll rant and rave to the agents that allow their clients to waive a home inspection. And
I mean, I would rather pay for the home inspection.
Thank you.
Cover it for you as a buyer than to tell you not to get a home inspection if it's for the cost.
Yeah, and guys, the home inspection is part of the negotiation once you're under contract. A lot of buyers don't know this, right? I always say there's three negotiations that happen in every transaction. It's the offer, it's the home inspection, which is request for repairs, and it's the appraisal. And so you definitely want to do your due diligence as a buyer. In fact, don't be scared. Have a plumber come out. Put the camera down the pipes. I'm seeing that more and more. Get the drone. Get the drone to go up and check the roof. Get a roofer out there. Get the plumber out there, especially if you're in downtown condo living. There's so many problems of plumbing issues that they just don't know or they don't really realize it. But yes, Tony's spot on with that. And what my peeve is, the agents that are like, oh, okay, if you don't want to do inspection, no problem. No, I want you to do inspection. I want you to test the AC.
Why do you think agents would say that? Because they don't want to bring up problems because they want you to close escrow so they can get their money.
Because they're probably one of the 70% that don't have a transaction and they have breath and now they have this deal. So they're like, oh my God, I don't want to say a word because I don't want this deal to fall out. I want to get paid.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But, make sure you have a good bulldog that's going to do the inspection for you, and also an agent that knows construction and knows things like that, so they know how to get the right inspectors out there to give you the right answers and the right bids.
Yeah, that goes back to, like you said, finding the right agent. finding the right agent with the resources. Listen, our job as agents is not to bring these resources. Our job is to bring it to your attention so that you can go out and find the plumbers that you want to work with, the AC companies you want to work with, the roofers you trust, right? So you can bring out your people to do your due diligence, right? And that's what it's about, due diligence.
Right. Well, and I guess, I think we got time for another question.
Okay.
This will be our last question that we can answer, but this will kind of tie into it because this is what a lot of buyers are nervous about or don't want to make an offer on a home. What I lose this, what's this name here? I'm trying to read this here. So this looks like
Lewis or
yeah,
Louise?
I can't read your writing. So Lewis said, what's an earnest money deposit? And can I get that back if I decide not to buy the home or something comes up on a home inspection?
Woo, buddy. There you go.
Here in California, what's the rules, Johnny? How's it work?
So you do have what's called contingency periods. Do not waive contingencies unless you know what the
How long are those contingency periods?
So the contingencies standard on contract are 17 days. However, they could be negotiated to go longer and sooner. So you want to ask those questions to your agent. What are the contingencies? Well, you're going to have inspection contingency, which is 17 days. However, sometimes your agent may say, hey, we'll do it in 7 days to let the seller know that, hey, we are anxious to move forward. So we want to know within the first 7 days if there's anything wrong with the home. Okay.
What's the benefit of an agent cutting it down like that?
So the benefit would be to use it as leverage while you're negotiating. I won't give you all my secrets, but I do negotiate that one down to say 7 days on average because I don't need more than 7 days. And if I do, I'll just do an extension of time on my contingencies. And then when I do that, the agent's not going to tell me no because I already have them tied up under contract, right? So
yeah.
This is how we think. It's like chess, guys. When you're an agent and you're representing your client, it's like playing chess, right?
Yeah,
so
there's so many moves. There's
so many moves, baby. So many moves. So yeah,
you go that way. So the contingency period. Okay, so now we have, let's say we go by the default, 17 days.
Okay.
I'm a buyer. I bought a home. I put a $10,000 earnest deposit in an escrow, and I did my home inspections, and my 17-day contingencies are coming up. And let's say I cancel. Do I lose my deposit?
In the state of California, you do not. Okay.
Why?
As you fall under your contingency, you have the ability to say, hey, the roof is a $50,000 roof fix and nobody wants to pay for it. So I'm going to cancel based upon my inspection contingency, and therefore I will get my money back. Okay. Now, guys, I will say this. If you're watching in a different state, every state is different. Like, for instance, North Carolina, they have what's called a due diligence fee and an initial deposit. Due diligence is non-refundable. Okay. So you want to ask your question. You want to ask that question to your agent. But if you're here in California, we have the contingency period, not only for home inspection, but for your loan. They also added insurance. Yes, because home insurance has gone up because of all the fires, right? We know half of LA burned down. Shout out to Spencer out there, who's just, on a rampage right now to get his house built. Good for him. But because of that, insurance agencies have skyrocketed, right? So now that's a contingency. So if you cannot find insurance, and I tell you that because I had a client that was buying a house with an ADU in Alpine, and the home insurance was going to be triple.
Wow.
Times 2. They looked at it as 2 units. Okay. And so that allowed him to cancel escrow because of that contingency. So you have home inspection, you have home insurance, you have inspection of all disclosures, CC&Rs, HOA documents, whatever is there. And then you're going to have your loan contingency. And then you're also going to have your appraisal contingency. So you will never overpay for a property as long as you have an appraisal contingency in place. Okay.
Got it.
Now, Tony, here's what I got to tell every buyer. That 17-day comes up and you say, okay, I'm ready to release contingencies. Once you release contingencies, your $10,000 earnest money is up for grabs.
What does it mean to release contingencies?
So that means that I have satisfied the inspection, the appraisal, the disclosures. I've received insurance. I'm good to go. Like, I'm happy with everything. I'm happy with the negotiations. The value is there. I'm ready to tell the seller I'm all in. I'm all in. Okay, so I'm going to sign off on that. Now, if I sign off,
that's what I was trying to get to. So there is a form, folks, that when your contingency period is up, your agent will say, are you 100%? Well, if it's an agent that knows what he's doing, he's going to say, are you 110% sure that you're happy with the inspection, the appraisal, the loan, everything is good? Then if you say yes, you sign on a form that says, I, the buyer, am removing all my contingencies and I'm moving forward in good faith. Now, if I end up canceling after I sign that form, then yes, your earnest deposit could be jeopardized. It doesn't automatically go to the seller because they have to ask for it and you have to willingly release it. Otherwise, they will have to sue you in civil court or whatever court to get that deposit from you, but they'll have a good chance in winning after you sign that contingency removal form. Because one important thing I don't think Johnny covered is in California, when you don't remove something in writing, the time frame keeps going and going and going. So that's where also your good listing agents out there are going to make you remove it on the day it's due.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to be in jeopardy of them canceling on you after they follow the proper steps. But that's another whole story, another whole episode.
Okay, but Tony, Susie had this question. I think it correlates. I think we might both squeeze it in. Susie says, what's the difference between an agent, a realtor, or a broker?
The difference between an agent, a realtor, and a broker. Go ahead, Johnny. That's all you.
So the broker is broke. No, I'm just kidding. That's a joke in the profession. Okay, guys, a broker has more education, more courses, right? Broker has more experience, and a broker is the ones that own the brokerages. Real estate salesperson or agents work for brokers. Okay, so you can always ask, hey, Tony, are you a real estate agent or are you a real estate broker? Chances are, like if they've been in the game like we have, we're all real estate brokers. That means we've taken our profession seriously and done the education, the experience, the number of transactions, and we've taken the test with the state of California. Okay, and it's different when it's renewed every 5 years, or when a renewal comes, you still have to do 45 hours of classes and so forth, right? So the brokers are the ones that own the brokerages, or their broker associate that works with those brokerages. Okay, Agents, they all work for brokers. So they cannot do business by themselves. They have to be under a broker. Now, realtor is what Tony pays all that wonderful money for every single year. So the National Association of Realtors says, if you pay us our dues, we'll let you put that nice little R logo on your lapel or on your t-shirt that signifies that you are a realtor. Is there anything that I'm missing when it comes to realtor?
No, well, first of all, it's realtor. There is no "er" in there. Okay, Johnny. Okay, I always have to correct people on that.
Realtor. Realtor.
There you go. So realtor, yes, you get that little R and you belong to the membership, but
your people, they were like, hey, they love that, Tony. They love you over there. Facebook.
The only thing with the realtor is you're certified in many courses, and you also have access to the multiple listing service. You also have access to all forms from the state of California, and you also have more coverage within yourself, more knowledge within yourself to do real estate. So it is important to work with someone who has that realtor badge, that R on there, because then they really take the business serious and they have the experience to get it done.
But do they? Because isn't it now, as long as I pay my dues, I get the R?
Well, I think that's with anything.
I think back in the day,
my dues as a lawyer,
take those classes. But today, as long as you pay NAR, they don't care. They'll give you the R. I don't know. I guess this is what we're going to rant about, right? This is what I'm talking about. This is the stuff right here. Because back in our day, yes, we had to do those courses, the buyer courses, the selling courses, the senior courses. Like there's all the different certifications. And I know we're running out of time here, so I'm going to wrap this up. But check, if you're working with those agents, ask them their credentials, ask them if they're certified. If not, call Johnny Perez. Call Tony Elias. Hey, we are here. We're live. We're local in San Diego. We're here to help you with all your real estate needs. Real talk, real estate, real.
Well, it was fun.
We'll see you guys next week. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Let's see if we can get
and come back.
And come back. Like us, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Let's get a applause. Thanks, guys. We appreciate you.